What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So there's a lot of stuff happening right now, and here's what I want to address today. First, what I want to talk about is two of the largest reserves here in the United States. They're running out of water. I want to address which ones those are and why this is so critical, because we have been getting warnings from experts for years, and now they're saying it could potentially be too late. We're also going to talk about President Biden and whether or not he should actually seek re-election in 2024. There are some Democrats that say, you know what, probably not, because it's not due to his polling numbers. It's not because he may or may not run against former President Donald Trump. It's actually because of his age. So I want to address what's going on there and what some lawmakers are actually saying. And lastly, I want to talk about the upcoming climate bill. This is that climate and tax bill that was brought to us by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Joe Manchin. I want to explain what's going on there and what automakers are asking for, because this is somewhat of an interesting switch, because automakers are asking for something that is kind of just more time. We'll explain what's happening there and why this could be potentially detrimental to Democrats in the upcoming midterm elections. So let's get right down to it. All I ask is if you can just spend 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button and click the subscribe button so you never miss an update. But let's start talking about climate. Let's start talking about water. Because according to multiple reports and many experts, they have been warning us for many months that the United States could be in trouble due to shortages in water, which would actually equate to shortages in power. Now, just the other day, the United Nations Environment Program, they said that 6 states in the United States are being threatened due to the 2 largest reserves, reservoirs, being at dangerously low levels. Those are their words. One ecosystems expert at the United Nations Environment Program said that this drought has gone on for more than 20 years, so we are no longer speaking of a drought. She said, and I quote, "We refer it to as a ratification, a new, very dry normal." Interesting. So this is going to be a new normal where we have no water, which also means we have less power. Okay. Well, the 2 reservoirs, these are Lake Mead and Lake Powell. I've talked about these multiple times on the channel. These are both man-made, and they supply water and power to states like Arizona, California, Colorado, Wyoming, Nevada, and also New Mexico. And according to experts, if conditions don't improve quickly, both lakes would be at risk of reaching something called Deadpool Status. Yeah, Deadpool. Sounds awesome, right? No, it's not. This would mean that the water is so low, the level is so low, that it stops flowing out of the reservoir and would disable the hydroelectric dams that provide power to millions and millions of residents on the western part of the United States. If we lose power, again, what's going to happen? Right? This is not good news. And I talked about this, I believe, last week, and I talked about why a drought is such a big deal. It's not just because of crops. Yeah, we are really hurting for water for our crops, but that's just part of it. What about electricity? Think about that, right? Now, we are going to talk about President Biden, and we are going to talk about whether or not he will run for president again. But I first want to go over the upcoming climate bill and why automakers are pretty much pushing Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Schumer to revise this bill. Because what we are hearing is that automakers say that the current bill as it stands, as of right now, this will take some time to implement. It's not something that they can just, flip the switch and things are going to be, great and be exactly what lawmakers want. The reason for this is because inside the current bill as it is written, there's a rising restriction, pretty much a rising requirement for the percentage of North American battery components. Okay, and it's by value. Now, here's the other thing. It would actually disallow any batteries after 2023 with any Chinese components. Yeah, that's after next year. Okay, keep that in mind. Because one Democratic senator, she said this bill is very cumbersome, unworkable credit once the full restrictions set in. There's conversations going on, and there are. I don't know if anything happens though. We also know the EV startup Rerun Automotive. They said, and I quote, "This will pull the rug out from consumers considering purchase of an American-made electric vehicle." They also added that the final package must extend the transition period. That's what they're discussing. That's where conversations are we really going to put the full restrictions after 2023? So in just over a year? I don't know. But that's what Senator Joe Manchin has put in it. And GM, they said, and I quote, "Some of the provisions are challenging and cannot be achieved overnight. But we are encouraged by the framework laid forth in the legislative text." And then we have Senator Joe Manchin, one of the ones that helped write this bill. He spoke back and he had this to say, and I quote, "Tell automakers to get aggressive and make sure that we're extracting in North America, we're processing in North America, and we put a line on China. I don't believe that we should be building a transportation mode on the backs of foreign supply chains. I'm not going to do it." Now let's touch on that for a second. Because one of the things that we have seen from Senator Joe Manchin, as well as many other lawmakers, is that we should not be relying on another country, especially China. That's what they have said multiple times, but yet some of their actions, okay, speak louder than words. Because yes, they say, oh yeah, we can't do that. We cannot rely on China and other countries. But then when they go and write a bill, you got something in the bill that gives more money to China. And so this is one of those, this is that climate policy that, yeah, it should help the United States, but we cannot rely on China. And especially after the whole issues with Nancy Pelosi heading to Taiwan just the other day. Is this really something that the rabbit hole we want to go down? Probably not. Now, this whole issue is very important to understand at this time, because Democrats need all the help that they can get to ensure that they don't lose any seats in the House and the Senate in the upcoming midterm elections. But in the House, at this point, they're expected to lose about 30 seats, which would flip from a Democratic House to a Republican. They're also expected to lose between 2 and 3 seats in the Senate. Right now, it's a 50-50 split, which, being that Vice President Kamala Harris is a Democrat, it means Democrats hold the majority in the Senate. Well, if 2 or 3 senators flip from Democrat to Republican, Republicans would hold the majority in the Senate, and the new Senate Majority Leader would be Senator Mitch McConnell. And I can tell you right now, it would be tough for President Biden to get anything done if Senator McConnell is the one that is leading the Senate, right? So, according to reports, without passing this climate and tax bill, many Democratic voters could hold their ground and not vote until something gets done. And so that's a big possibility. So just keep that in mind, because again, something has to happen. We know lawmakers go on recess. Is it the end of this week? It is the end of this week. Lawmakers, so technically as of Monday, they will be on recess, and they'll be on recess for 1 month. However, most of them head home after this Friday, so it's Friday, August 5th. And I do not believe they come back to Washington until either the 5th or the 12th of September. I believe it's the 12th. So they're gone for a full month. So what we know is they got to get something done. They got to start now. They got to continue negotiations while they're on recess. Then as soon as they get back in September, they got to get something done. So we'll see what happens there. Now, let's address the news as to whether or not President Biden will rerun for president in 2024. Because, and first, more and more Democrats are questioning whether or not he's the right candidate for the job. More Democrats have actually stepped up over the recent months, and they publicly stated that they don't believe President Biden will rerun. And again, it's not due to his polling numbers. Okay, it's not due to the bills that he's passed recently or not passed. It's due to his age and the potential health problems that could come with it. Because currently President Biden is 79 years old. He's the oldest person, oldest president that we've had. Now he will turn 80 years old on November 20th, meaning that his current term wouldn't be up until he is older. He's after 82, right? Now, then if he's reelected, that would put an additional 4 years on top of that. So he would be 86 by the time his second term is up. That's the reason why some say that maybe he's just not cut out for this job. Now, just recently, Representatives Jerry Nadler and Carolyn Maloney, they were asked if President Biden should seek a second term. Now, Nadler, he didn't want to speculate on it until after the midterm elections, okay? Because, and honestly, I don't know if he believes President Biden should or shouldn't rerun. Jerry Nadler's probably just going to side with what the majority of Democrats are going to say anyway. But the other one, Carolyn Maloney, she didn't believe President Biden should rerun. We know AOC was actually asked a few months ago about President Biden and whether he should seek re-election. She didn't commit to supporting any decision, whether he does run for re-election or whether he doesn't. And one Democrat in the House said that Democrats, and I quote, need new leaders in Washington up and down the ballot. That starts with the president, that goes to the Senate, that goes to the House of Representatives, right, up and down the ballot. So we're going to see what happens in this upcoming midterm election. But what I can tell you is it's not just a Democratic problem either. It's a Republican problem as well, that some want to see just a major shakeup. So we're going to see. Now, I want to know your thoughts on this as well. Do you think that age will become a factor in deciding whether or not President Biden runs for re-election? Or do you think this becomes a factor because, get this, former President Donald Trump is just 4 years younger than President Biden? So, if President Biden is considered to be too old as of right now, he is 79. If former President Donald Trump were to rerun, get elected, former President Donald Trump would be 82 by the time he is out of office. Okay? So keep that in mind because, again, these are some of the discussions that the American people are having, but also lawmakers on who they are going to decide to actually run for president. So, as we get more information as to what's going on there, I promise I'll fill you in on all the latest news as soon as we get it. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.